Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a bit of a quick one because we're going to be talking about the recent drama that Hungrybox has spurred on Twitter. He asked, should we ban Sonic from the Coinbox? And this isn't a permanent ban. The idea is that they're going to have Sonic maybe banned 1 week, just as Steve is banned 1 week, because if you don't know, Steve is on a rotation in the Coinbox. 1 week he'll be banned, the next week he won't be banned. And normally I'm very against the Steve ban, but for online events, I think this is the perfect way to do it, because online, at the end of the day, it should be more for fun. It is a very good way to get practice and for people to play in a high pressure environment. But if Steve is banned 1 week, I think that's perfectly fine, and I think it's even better that he's unbanned the next week, because you still get the Steve players allowing to play the game, and you get people that don't want to play against Steve having fun in their Wi-Fi events, and I think it's just a really good balance. But should Sonic be added to that list? Well, that's going to be the topic of today's video. And before we get any further into it, it's very important that you all know this fact. Hungrybox does not saying that we should actually be banning Sonic. He doesn't think the character is ban-worthy, and he's definitely not ban-worthy in most contexts, but this isn't most contexts. And the big issue of why we're going to be getting rid of this character, or why Hungrybox is proposing that we get rid of this character, is because of viewership, and specifically 2 Sonic players just being a little bit too good. So the last time a Coinbox Grand Finals didn't have a Sonic player in it was February 15th, which was Riddles versus Shiny Mark. And as you can see, the viewership was pretty high for that, whereas you go to the more recent events and the viewership is not as high. And if you look at the recent events, I can definitely see why you'd want to make arguments for this character being banned. But when you look at the players, it's just 2 guys, and it's really just 1 guy until more recently, because Wrath has just gotten significantly better in these past couple months, but it's really just Sonic's getting to the grand finals of pretty much every single Coinbox, because that guy is incredible, and Sonic is a very good Wi-Fi character. But as you can see, it is definitely hurting viewership. There is no doubt in my mind there, and from Hungrybox's perspective, I think this is a very fair way to look at this, because for these online events, your main goal should be to get viewership, because you want to continue running them. This is a way to give back to the community, and if people aren't watching them, you're not going to have sponsors invested in your event, so it's just going to be more difficult to consistently put these on. You guys got to remember that Hungrybox is putting on 4 coin boxes every single month, all of them having like $3,000 pots. That is a lot of money going back into the scene, and if he doesn't have the viewership to sustain that money and the sponsors start backing out, we are going to lose these events. But then you have the perspective of the Sonic players. This is not a Sonic ban. This is legit just a ban from me and Sonix. This is going to be a tweet from Wrath. And to be honest, he's kind of spitting on this one. There are no other Sonic players getting to this level of tournament besides Wrath and Sonix. And these guys just happen to be extremely talented, playing a broken character that is way better on Wi-Fi, and he was already pretty good. So it makes sense that they're making it this far into tournaments consistently. And if you look at other Sonic players, everyone say thank you, Rosebloom, for the top 96 representation. You only got 4 Sonic players in the most recent Coinbox, and this is what it usually looks like. It's very rare that you see Sonic going over 5, even 6 players, because the character just isn't super popular because of the playstyle and the discipline that you need for them. But when you have players like Wrath and Sonix that know how to play Sonic and are disciplined, it definitely hurts the viewership. This is another top 96 representation from Wrath, and again, you're going to have 4 Sonic players only in the top 96, whereas you have 7 Min, 6 Robs, 12 Steves, but that checks out at this point, and it really does just bring up the question, should we be banning these characters for pretty much just Wrath and Sonix? And I want to make this very clear right now, this is not something that is personal. It feels like people are kind of taking it that way, or Wrath and Sonix may be taking it that way. It is not personal at all. It is all about the viewership, and as we've already established, the viewership is a pretty big concern. These are significant drops, and when you're running a Wi-Fi event, the most important thing is going to be viewership. So we have to make the decision. How do we want to handle this? Do you want to ban these 2 Sonic players, not from every single event, just from every other event or so, to save the viewership, or do you keep the competitive integrity and say, this character shouldn't be banned, these guys are extremely good, and they deserve to get the placements that they're getting because they're just better than the people that they're beating, and it's not a black and white question. And y'all know me, I'm almost always going to side with the competitive integrity and just looking at it as, does this character actually need to be banned? And right now, the answer is very clearly no, in my opinion. If it's only 2 guys getting into the top 4, and it's the same guy getting into the grand finals every single time, Sonix has not missed a grand finals, I think, ever. Look at this. He hasn't missed any of them. This is just unreal, and effectively, This is like banning Joker because MKLeo was getting into the grand finals of every single tournament, but the difference here is that this is a Wi-Fi event, and that is why I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Hungrybox's side. As I've said like 4 times in the video already, viewership is very important. It's the most important thing. And for these events to be sustainable, you need to have the viewership continuing to go up and up. And if people are tuning out in the top 4, the most important part of the event, because it's the same guy every single time winning with the really lame character, then I can definitely see where Hungrybox is coming from. People have also suggested that Hungrybox should run some novelty coin boxes. Maybe you do one with items and random stages on. You could have one with low tiers only. You do a doubles one. And I think he actually is planning on doing a doubles one, which I personally am very excited for. But they really don't fix the problem. Yeah, it's good for that 1 week, but all of the other weeks, Sonix is still going to get into the grand finals every time because he's just better than everyone, and he's still going to win the event. And Sonix getting into the grand finals every single time isn't really a problem in my opinion because he earns it every single time. And when we're seeing real major events like Genesis, like King Khan, like the actual majors that are going to be happening soon, you're going to see Sonix a lot in those top 4s pretty much every single time because, as I already said, he's just better than everyone. But the difference is if Sonix is in the grand finals of Genesis, people are still going to watch it because it's Genesis grand finals. But when Sonix is in the grand finals of Coinbox, people just tune out because there'll be another Coinbox next week. Maybe it'll be a little bit more interesting. I don't want to watch Sonix in the grand finals. I got work tomorrow. I got school tomorrow. I'm going to bed. And I think that is where the problem lies. Because Coinbox is so frequent, it doesn't really matter if you miss the top 4. If the top 4 is boring, whatever. There'll be one next week anyway. It's not as special. And because of that, that is why the viewership is taking such a significant hit. And I think the best solution for this is going to come from DD. You ban C twice a month. I think that's absolutely correct. People want to have fun. And you ban Sonic once a month, preferably with Steve. It's a compromise. Not everyone is going to be happy in this situation. And I do feel for Sonix and Wrath here because they're not doing anything wrong. They're being better than everyone. They're just beating everyone. And yeah, their playstyle's lame, but it's very, very difficult to beat. And they're playing to win because $3,000 are on the line. So they're getting punished for being good. That kind of sucks. But you also have to feel for Hungrybox and the viewers. He wants to keep these events going. People want to watch these events, but if it's the same 2 guys that play characters that nobody wants to watch every single time, I can see why the viewership is turning down. And I think this is the best way. It's a small compromise. Yes, some people are going to be happy, but it's only 1 week. Sonix is still going to be making $10,000 a month from Coinbox. He's not going to have that big of an issue. It sucks that we have to come to this compromise, but that's just the way it is. I should also add that Wrath, I don't know what you're worried about. Just farm people with the sword. I believe in you. But that's just my 2 cents on the issue. If this was an offline event, I would be extremely against Sonic being banned because I'm just against characters being banned in general, but this isn't an offline event. This is different circumstances, and because of that, I do think that it's acceptable to have Sonic banned for just 1 event per month. And there is going to be a debate on Hungrybox's stream tonight, so make sure you check that out because you're going to get a bunch of different perspectives from a bunch of pro players, some analysts, Hungrybox, the best Sonics out there. It should be a good watch, and I'm curious to see what the outcome is. I'm also curious what you guys think down below. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to sub if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!